Hello children, in this video we are going to continue the same story Sindbad, my first voyage, part 2. So in the part 1 we have already seen that while they were traveling in the sea they saw an island. Actually it wasn't an island but it was a huge animal, isn't it? They jumped into the sea. Sindbad reached an island that he couldn't find any food, isn't it? Except a few herbs. So this is what we have seen in the part 1, isn't it? So let's continue this story in this video. As I walked further in this strange land, I met a man. The man asked me where I had come from and who I was. So when he was alone in the island, he found a man. He was walking alone in the island. He found a man. He met a man. The man asked him where I had come from. நான் எங்கேருந்து வந்தேன் அப்படின்னு கேட்குறாரு. அண்ட் நான் யாரு அப்படின்னு அந்த மேனு அந்த ஐலண்டில் கேட்குறாரு. I poured out my misfortune to him. So Sindbad told him everything what had happened to him. அவன்கிட்ட என்ன நடந்துச்சோ எல்லாத்தையும் அந்த ஸ்ட்ரேஞ்ச் மேன்ட்ட சொல்லிட்டார். யாரு? சிந்துபாத். The man felt pity when he heard my sad story. So the man felt very pity. இந்த கதையை கேட்ட உடனே அந்த புது மனுஷனுக்கு ரொம்ப பாவமாயிடுச்சு சிந்துபாத்தை பார்த்துட்டு. He took me inside a cave. The strange man took him inside a cave. ஒரு குகைக்குள்ள இட்டுட்டு போறான். There were a number of men present in the cave. There were a number of people. There were a lot of members in the cave. They were all slaves of the king of the island. Actually, what does mean by slave means அடிமைகள் அப்படின்னு அர்த்தம். So inside the cave, inside the cave, there were a lot of slaves. அந்த குகைக்குள்ள நிறைய அடிமைகள் இருந்தாங்க. Those men were kind. So all these men were so kind to Sindbad. They served me good food and drink and treated me very well. Sindbad says that these people talked to me very nicely, were very kind to me, and they gave me a good food and drink. They treated me very well. Who says? Sindbad tells the poor Sindbad. Later on, they introduced me in front of the king, Miharjan. Okay? Introduce the king, Miharjan. Who was the ruler of the island? So actually Miharjan he's the king of the island. Okay, so the people took him to the king to show him. I narrated my tale of suffering and hardships to the king. Sindbad told all his story to the king. Okay, what had happened to him when they were traveling in the sea. He told him everything to the king. All the hardships, எல்லா கஷ்டத்தையும் சொல்லிட்டான் கிங்கு கிட்ட. The king was a noble and kind man. Yes, the king is so kind and noble man. ரொம்ப ஒரு பணிவான ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு மனசுடைய ஒரு கிங் அவர். He sympathized with me and appointed me as an officer on the spot. So finally the king appointed him as an officer in the island. அவருக்கு வந்து ஒரு வேலை கொடுத்துட்டார், ஆஃபீஸரா அந்த ஒரு வேலையை கொடுத்துட்டார். யாருக்கு? சிந்துபாத்துக்கு அந்த ஐலண்டில். Soon I became friendly with the people on the island. So finally, Sindbad became so friendly to entire people in the island. There were a number of other small islands nearby. So not only that island, around the island, there were a lot of islands. There were a number of islands around the small island. These islands were under the king Mirajan too. Okay, so not only this island, around all these islands are under the king Miharaj. So Miharaj is the king for all the islands around there. During my stay, I witnessed a number of remarkable sights. The seawater around the island contained a huge and terrible fishes. So around the island, around the island there was sea, isn't it? So in the sea there were different species of fishes. நிறைய வகையான மீன்கள் அந்த கடல் இருக்குது அந்த ஐலண்டை சுற்றி. A few were 100 times bigger than the largest ship. So but a few of them were 100 times bigger than a ship. ஒரு சில மீன்கள்லாம் வந்து ஷிப்போட பெரிய பெரிய மீன்கள்லாம் அந்த கடலை சுற்றி இருக்குதுங்க. Once I saw a fish that had a head like a bull. He saw a very monster fish. Its head looked like a bull. அதோட தலை எப்படி இருந்துச்சுன்னா ஒரு காளை மாதிரி இருந்துச்சு அப்படி சொல்றாரு. I witnessed many unimaginable wonders. So he saw many different unimaginable wonders around the sea, because that's the island is called Wonder. The island is called Wonder because around the island there were a lot of unimaginable things. Okay, ships from different parts of the world visited this small island kingdom spot regularly. So this island is the center for all the islands. So all the ships will come irregularly to the island, to the ships from different parts of the world to visit this small island Kingston's port. So all the ships will come to the port in the island. Every day I would ask the visitors, sailors about the city, Baghdad. Okay, so whenever he goes to the port, he is asking every visitors whether they know the city of Baghdad. Baghdad is the name of the city. Whose city it is actually? Sindhubad city is Baghdad. Okay, so who are all coming there? He's asking them, "Do you know Baghdad? Do you know Baghdad, my city?" He's asking everyone who are all coming to the island, but no one knew about my city, and I launched to go back home, but no one knew of his city. யாருக்குமே அவருடைய சிட்டியை தெரியல. Actually he feels like he wants to go home. Okay, big launched-னா ரொம்ப எப்படின்னா ஏங்குறது. Okay, he's launched to go back home. அவன் வீட்டுக்கு போறதுக்கு ரொம்ப ஏங்கிட்டார். யாரு? சிந்துபாத். One day when I was standing on the port, I saw a ship approaching the port. It was the same ship which had sailed further after leaving me behind, struggling in the sea. So finally when he was standing in the port, he saw a ship approaching him. He saw a ship was coming towards him. Actually, what was the ship is? The ship is his own ship. The ship who left him behind it. The ship who left him behind in the ocean, isn't it? That ship is coming to him. Okay. When the captain of the ship saw me, he was greatly surprised to find me alive. When the ship of the captain, when the captain of the ship saw me, he became surprised. He greatly surprised. அவருக்கு ஒண்ணுமே புரியல. நான் உயிரோட இருக்கிறத அந்த கேப்டன் பார்த்த உடனே அவருக்கு ஒண்ணுமே புரியல. சர்ப்ரைஸா இருந்துச்சு. He and the other crew members hugged me with happiness. So in the when his crew members saw him, they hugged him, they kissed him. So they showed their happiness to him. They showed their love and affection to him. The captain handed over my goods to me, which had been left on the ship. So the captain handed over all his belongings to Sindbad. Okay. Among my goods, I chose a few valuable items and presented those to the king, to the kind king. So Sindbad took out some of his valuable things from his bag, and he took them to the king of the island to give him as present. Okay, he presented them to the king. In return, the king also gave me expensive presents. In return, the king is also giving him a lot of expensive presents. Okay, கிங்கு என்ன பண்றாரு, நம்ம விலை மதிப்பில்லாத பொருட்களை சிந்துபாத்துக்கு தராரு. The ship stayed on the island for a few days. How long it had been staying in the island? Yes, it had been staying in the island for a few days. Meanwhile, I did good business and earned a lot of money. So in the meanwhile time, Sindbad and his crew members learned a lot of money by selling their goods in the island, by selling their goods and products around the island. Because of that, they earned a lot of money. Okay. When it was time to leave, I went to meet the king. I thanked the king for his kindness and all the favors he had done to him. So finally, he went to the king to thank him. Actually, before he is leaving the island, he went to the king to thank him. Okay, because the king is very kind and very supportive, isn't it? So that he wants to thank him. He thanked him for everything he has done to Sindbad. The king again gave me many valuable farewell gifts. Before leaving, the king gave him again a lot of gifts and presents. Finally, I returned to my city, Baghdad, as a rich man. So finally, Sindbad reached his city, Baghdad, as a rich man. ஒரு பணக்காரனா அவருடைய சிட்டிக்கு போறான். Sindbad completed the tale of his first voyage. The poor porter Sindbad was listening to the amazing tale of Sindbad with all wonder. So actually, who is telling this story to whom? Rich Sindbad is telling his own story to the poor Sindbad, isn't it? So that tale means story. He's telling his tale to the poor Sindbad. The poor Sindbad was very interested in hearing his story. Sindbad the sailor then bade goodbye to the poor potter and asked him to come to the next day to hear the tale of his new voyage. So after that, the rich Sindbad tells the poor Sindbad that I'm leaving. So come tomorrow. I will tell you another story. Okay, நீ நாளைக்கு வா, உனக்கு இன்னும் நான் இன்னொரு புது ஸ்டோரி சொல்றேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்றான். But before leaving, he presented Sindbad a purse full of gold coins. And before the rich Sindbad leaving the place, he gave some gold coins in the purse to the poor Sindbad. அவர் போகிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு 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 பையில் கோல்டு காயின்ஸாக கொடுத்துட்டு போகிறார். யார்கிட்ட? அந்த புவர் சிந்துபாத்துக்கிட்ட. The unexpected riches overjoyed Sindbad the potter. So this incident made the poor Sindbad very happy. When he saw this, when he saw the gold coins in the bag, he became so happy, he was overjoyed. He thanked his rich host and went home. He thanked the poor Sindbad, thanked the rich Sindbad, and finally he went back home. Okay, so listen children, this story is really interesting to hear, and we can get a lot of messages from this story, isn't it? So we have to help others, we have to respect others, and we have to love each other. So there are a lot to learn from this story. Okay, I hope you understand what I meant. Okay, so thank you children.